is an amazing city. Of course, it's the capital of Finland, and there are so many fun things to do here. In this video, I've rounded up some of the absolute best. I've also made a ton of other videos around Finland, including more about Helsinki, so I will link those in the description box if you want to see more. But for now, here's the best of Helsinki. One of the most unique places you can visit in Helsinki is a church built directly into rock. In Finnish, it's called the Temppeliaukio kirkko, and in English, better known as the Rock Church. And that's because it was built out of solid rock. Two brothers who were both architects came up with this design, and it opened in 1969. And they left the excavation marks in the walls to remind you of how much effort and work was required to dig down into this solid rock to build the church that you see today. If you look closely, you can still see water coming down some of the walls. It drips down into grates and is carried away. When you look up, you see a beautiful ceiling made of copper that forms the dome of the church. And the acoustics inside are really special as well, so much so that they host over 400 concerts every year. So it's a unique place not only to visit, but also hopefully catch a concert. Alvar Aalto was a world-famous Finnish architect and designer. If you don't know his name, I can almost guarantee that you're familiar with some of his designs. And in Helsinki, you can come and do a tour of the home that he lived in, worked in, and designed himself with his wife, where they lived as a family until he passed away. And you can see some really interesting details that he put into the house, right down to things like the doorknobs that were curved so that when you walked by, you wouldn't catch your sleeve, or the sinks in the bathroom, which were designed so that when the water runs, it would create the least amount of noise possible. Aalto also loved to paint. It was a hobby and a way for him to unwind, and you'll find a lot of his works here at the house. However, he didn't consider himself an artist, so you'll notice that none of the art is signed. This is Suomenlinna. You need to take a boat here from Helsinki, and this is a military fortress, and it served for Russia, Finland, and Sweden over the years. Construction here began in the mid-18th century, and in 1991 it became protected by UNESCO because it's such a unique example of military architecture. This is one of the most popular attractions in all of Finland. They get over 1 million visitors every year. It's also a neighborhood of Helsinki still because 800 people call this home. I think the best thing to do is come and walk around and just get a better appreciation for the history of this fortress. One of the most fun things walking around the fortress is going and exploring some of the nooks and crannies. There are many little tunnels and caves and cutouts that you can walk around in, but usually they have no lighting whatsoever. So bring a flashlight or get your phone out and make sure you don't slip because it can be a little bit difficult to walk around, but so cool to just walk around in the dark and explore. Market Square is really centrally located, and it's a great place to just get something to eat. There's different food stalls, souvenirs, handicrafts. You can look around, see what they have to offer, and also just to look out at the water because there's a bunch of activities with the boats coming in and out, and a nice place to just sit down and enjoy the view. The Old Market Hall in Helsinki has been open since 1889. It's a fantastic place to come and grab a bite to eat or drink, but it's also a place to just come and take a look at some really unique Finnish foods. Walking up and down these aisles, you'll see all sorts of vendors selling everything from bear to reindeer to moose, every sort of fish, salmon that you can think of, Finnish berries, tea, coffee, it's all here at the Market Hall. About a half-hour walk from downtown Helsinki is the Sibelius Monument, named for the late composer. It was done by a Finnish sculptor and unveiled in 1967, and it looks like organ pipes. There are over 600 pipes made of welded steel, and on one side you can also see a bust of Sibelius himself. Saunas are a massive part of Finnish culture and of national identity. There are about 5.5 million people living in Finland and 3.3 million saunas, just to give you an idea. And because so many new homes have their own private saunas, there's been a decrease in the amount of community saunas. But if you're in Helsinki, you can come to a public sauna like this. It's called Löyly, not the easiest Finnish word, but it's a traditional wood-fired sauna. And once you're all hot from the sauna, if you're feeling brave and you want to have the traditional Finnish experience, you can come outside and go in the water. This is one of my favorite spaces in all of Helsinki. It's called Think Corner, and it's a free co-working space that's run by the University of Helsinki. It's like a Scandinavian dreamscape inside. I'm totally serious. I love it so much. You can work here, you can just come and hang out. There's free Wi-Fi. You'll see lots of university students. They have a cafe, and they also have a shop with not only University of Helsinki merch, but also books in both Finnish and English. So if you want a cool spot to just come and hang out in Helsinki, this is it. Welcome to nature. This is Hotel Rantapuisto, only a half hour away from downtown Helsinki, if you can believe it. And this hotel has a long and really cool history. It was finished in 1963, and it was a training center for the Nordic Bank, which later became the Bank of Finland. And the architects were a couple, Marta and Ragnar Uppua. And Ragnar actually used to work at the architectural firm of the very famous Finnish architect Alvar Aalto in the 1920s. And so they're a real powerhouse, and they designed this entire building, and now it's a hotel. And this type of architecture lends itself so well to the amazing nature around you. Lots of glass, tons of windows, long glass walkways. And what I love about this hotel specifically is that if you're in Finland and you don't have time to go all the way north to Lapland, and you're in Helsinki, you still get the feeling of being completely surrounded by nature. This is our room at Rantapuisto, and it's incredible to be in Helsinki and get an amazing view like this. When we woke up this morning, I couldn't wait to just get out to the water, so in our pajamas, Mark and I just went down and sat there and looked out. It was so calm and so quiet, and it's really hard to believe that you are in Helsinki, but being in this hotel room and looking out at this view is just so peaceful and calm. This is the Marimekko outlet store at Herttoniemi. If you've never heard of Marimekko before, it is the most recognizable, probably the most beloved brand in all of Finland. If you visit Finland, you are 100% guaranteed to see someone wearing something or have a bag that's Marimekko. If you go to a hotel, chances are very high that you will drink out of a Marimekko mug or eat off of a plate. You get the idea. It's very, very popular. This is actually the headquarters for all of Marimekko. And this is also where you find the biggest outlet store in all of Finland. So you come here, you can find clothing and shoes, bags, plates and cups, napkins, fabric, all sorts of different items. They have normal price products, and they also have a lot of discounted products. So it's a great place to come and look around and maybe take home a Marimekko souvenir. At the Marimekko outlet, there's also a cute little cafe where they serve lunch and snacks and drinks. And of course, everything from the napkins to the cups to the plates is all different Marimekko. One of the most fun ways to get a bird's eye view of Helsinki is at the Flying Cinema. You wear 3D glasses and watch a 15-minute presentation where you fly all around the city and they point out different sites. It's a great way to get a look at where you might want to go out and explore in the city yourself. And you're on one of those platforms you often find on rides at amusement parks where you're moving all around, and they also add elements like air, water, mist, even snow falling, things touching the backs of your legs so you really feel like you're flying around. They also have kind of a smoother, gentler ride, which is a 15-minute fly over Finland, and you see all of the most majestic parts of the country. Helsinki is a city where you never feel too far from the water, and an amazing way to get a different point of view on the city is to go down to the market square and get on a ferry boat. We'll take you all around. There are tons of little islands, and they'll tell you some of the history of the place, and also a lot of people live on these islands, so you get some insight into how other people live in the city. These are some of Helsinki's ice-breaking ships on their summer holiday. They don't need them quite yet, but in the winter they break through ice up to 5 meters and keep all of this water accessible. This is our room at Hotel Katajanokka. It's very spacious, as you can see, but what's super cool and unique about this hotel is its past. It used to be a prison, and there's been a prison here since 1837, and it actually ran all the way up until 2002. And then in 2007, they opened the doors as a hotel. And when you check in, they say, "Welcome to your prison time." So hopefully for most of us, this is the only night we're gonna spend in a prison, former prison. And if you look closely in the room, you can see how incredibly thick and solid these walls are. And they have all these other little historical touches to remind you that it wasn't always so easy to check out of here, like these locks and keys. This is my favorite part of the hotel because there is no mistaking that this used to be a prison. You can look up all of the floors and see where all of the cells used to be, which have now been turned into hotel rooms. You can do tours here, and one of my favorite kind of historical tidbits about when this was run as a prison is that in 1946, they found evidence of a tunnel that had taken a couple of weeks to make. It went from the 3rd floor men's common area to cell number 13, which belonged to the female prisoners. So these men had taken a couple of weeks not to tunnel out to freedom, but to make a way over to the women. Out here in the courtyard at Katajanokka, you get another glimpse of what prison life would have been like because they have the huge brick walls circling the entire hotel to keep you from escaping, of course. And then they've left bars on a lot of the windows, not on the rooms because there may be some limits to how authentic you want your experience in a former prison to be, but they've left them on quite a few windows out here. Down by the market square there are a few pools, and one of those pools has the harbor water in it, so it's really, really cold. And if you watch for long enough, you're sure to see some very brave souls get in. The bravest ones swim right across as quick as they can and get out. Doesn't look all that fun to me, but it's really entertaining to watch. Vaakuna Hotel is one of my favorite places I've maybe ever been, especially in Helsinki. We were just walking down the street and I peeked through the doors and saw the lobby and it blew my mind, so we came in to take a look. This hotel began construction in 1939 and unfortunately construction was interrupted and delayed by the war, but it was completed and opened in 1952, which by the way is the same year that Helsinki hosted the Olympic Games. And stepping into the lobby, it's like you're back in 1952. All of the furniture here was designed by the same architect who designed the hotel. It is still here. It's immaculate looking. It feels like I've walked onto the set of a Wes Anderson movie. Wes Anderson, please, please, will you film a movie here? It's unbelievable. Up on the 10th floor of Vaakuna Hotel is a restaurant called Ravintola Loiste, and you don't have to be a guest of the hotel to come dine. Whether you dine or just come to take a look, it's like stepping into a 1950s time capsule. One of the ways to feel a little bit more like a local when you're traveling is to make yourself at home in a rental apartment. When we're traveling, we even like to stay at different apartments in the same city so that we get to try out different neighborhoods and just get a feel of how it is to live in that community. I found this place on Airbnb and you really cannot get more central than this. Unless you were sleeping in the train station, I don't think you could get any closer. I can see the train tracks and the train station location from our balcony. And from this view, you can also see the amusement park across the city, which is called Linnanmäki, which Mark and I went to and had a really nice time. And they also had a fireworks display the night that we weren't there. So we got to stand here in our apartment and look far across the city and enjoy the fireworks. That was an extra special treat. It's all about this view. However, there's also a second view with a little balcony where we really enjoyed cozying up with a cup of coffee. I just love staying in apartments like this. This is really big. There's actually 2 beds and a lovely kitchen because I also love to go grocery shopping and do some cooking while we're traveling, and it's also just a more affordable way of traveling. But it's all about this view. Waking up to this in Helsinki, I don't think it gets any better, and I will link this below if you're interested. Have it. So much inspiration to be found in Helsinki, places to stay, things to do. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you want to see more about Helsinki and also about other parts of Finland, like up north in Lapland, I've made lots of other videos, so check them out. I will link them in the description box below. Hopefully this gave you some insight into Helsinki. I do hope that you enjoyed it. Make sure you give it a like if you did. Subscribe to the channel for lots more travel adventures, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!